Next on Worcester News Tonight, officials in the town of Webster discussing how they'll zone recreational marijuana shops in the future. Plus, the Friendly House hosts its signature fundraiser of the year, honoring people who exemplify the Friendly House's mission. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Anna Botari. For the town of Webster, recreational marijuana shops have faced a temporary ban. At a public hearing Thursday, some showed their concerns as the ban is very close to its end. Tonight, we're hearing from local police who say that legalizing marijuana has been a very difficult process for the town. Our Cam Jandro joins us now live with more. Cam?
Yeah, Anna, officials have until December 31st to come up with some zoning regulations in regards to recreational marijuana. Now, police tell me Webster is a town that's heavily residential, so finding the right spots to put recreational marijuana spots has been something of a challenge.
Retail marijuana is yet to make its way to Webster, but zoning remains a concern amongst residents.
I do not want these stone people driving down my road, hitting my dogs, hitting my children.
Right now, a temporary ban is in place to prevent recreational shops until the end of 2018. Two businesses are vying for the chance to open up in town. Webster Deputy Police Chief Michael Shaw says being a small town has created zoning challenges.
You have to take into effect, your citizens, and you don't want to affect their quality of life to the point where, they feel like it affects their property values or they want to move, like we've seen in other communities.
Earlier this year, voters in Webster chose not to ban recreational sales. Shaw says he's hoping the department and town can use Leicester as a guide moving forward.
Nobody knew what they were going to encounter when they opened that store. I don't think anybody really expected the crowds that they got. So we'll definitely learn from their experiences.
If no clear zoning regulations are decided on, marijuana shops could be set up anywhere in town. Shaw says right now, they're just looking to get something on paper.
The places we picked we thought were best for this purpose. If it's going to come, at least we have some control over where it goes at this point.
Now for residents at the next town meeting, marijuana will be one of the hot topics for discussion. Anna?
Thanks, Cam. The city of Worcester could soon see its second medical marijuana dispensary. The Botanist promise a variety of products and say they have big plans for the future. Our Brittany Schaefer has more.
The medical marijuana shop is waiting for the Department of Public Health's approval. It's their final step. After that, they say they're ready to open their doors within hours. Chris Tolford is putting the final details in place at the Botanist. The general manager says they'll soon become the second medical marijuana shop to open in Worcester.
We're just waiting for final approval. So, we're hopeful over the next few days to weeks to be actually open here for patients.
The Botanist parent company, Acreage Holdings, is one of the largest cannabis companies in the nation. The medical marijuana facility is opening shops across central Massachusetts with locations in Worcester, Leominster, and Shrewsbury.
We kind of targeted the central Mass and all of our dispensaries being pretty close so we can have a presence here in this area, and we're very excited to be part of the community.
But the Botanist isn't stopping at medical. The facility on Pullman Street also has a recreational license in the works. They say following other recent openings like Cultivate and Leicester, they will be more prepared.
We are making some adjustments based on what they have done to hopefully make it an easier transition. The security aspect is very important for us in our process, both for ourselves, our patients, and the communities.
The company's focus is to educate patients while offering a unique space.
It conjures up the image of a botanist store from, say, the 19th century with the period sort of artifacts like the bottles, the vegetation everywhere. I think it's something that customers will come in. They're not going to want to leave.
We have a strong, knowledgeable staff that again can talk with any type of patient that comes in here to meet their needs.
Tolford says if all goes to plan, they will be ready to open recreationally in early 2019. At the Botanist, Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
Tonight, Friendly House in Worcester hosted its 24th annual Galaxy of Stars Awards banquet. Local community leaders who exemplify the Friendly House's mission were honored. Executive Director Gordon Hargrove says they like to recognize people who have had an important place in athletics in the city who don't often get recognized. The event is the organization's signature event raising funds for youth programs.
These are the dollars we count on to pay for the staffing and the bus and all of the amenities for our summer daycare program, as well as our fall, winter, and spring programs for the youngsters in Grafton Hill.
Among tonight's recipients, the 4 North High ROTC students who took quick action, running into a burning building to save those inside the night before Thanksgiving, as well as our own Andy Lacombe, an award well-deserved. People all over the nation tuning in to watch the funeral of former President George H.W. Bush. Close family and friends attended the church service in the 41st president's adopted hometown of Houston, Texas. President Bush was born in Massachusetts, and closer to home, many people at a Shrewsbury diner were paying close attention today. President Bush passed away Friday at the age of 94. Today's funeral comes after the nation said goodbye at a moving memorial at the nation's cathedral in Washington, D.C. Many we spoke to at Brody's say it's important for them to pay their respects to their former president and honor his legacy.
And sit and watch this great man who was our president.
He's a great man and sacrificed a lot for our country even before he was president. And, it's kind of the end of an era in some ways that this generation is passing. So it's nice to see everyone kind of come together and remember the sacrifices his family made.
Following today's service, Bush was taken by a train named in his honor to his presidential library at Texas A&M University, where he'll be laid to rest alongside his wife Barbara and daughter Robin. Jay Gray reports.
After 4 days of public mourning, today's service was private and personal.
Today we are gathered to celebrate the life of a man that we all adored.
1,200 or so filling St. Martin's Church, where President George H.W. Bush worshiped his oldest grandchild and namesake, honoring his Gampy.
George Herbert Walker Bush was the most gracious, most decent, most humble man that I will ever know.
His best friend and former Secretary of State, Jim Baker, struggling to say goodbye.
Because our glory, George, was to have had you as our president and as such a friend.
Long before his passing, Bush had asked his favorite group, the Oak Ridge Boys, to sing at his funeral.
Bright shining as the sun.
Another favorite, Reba McEntire.
For thine is the kingdom.
Brought President George W. Bush to tears. As his flag-draped casket left the chapel and adopted hometown of Houston for the last time, thousands lined the streets and train tracks leading to College Station as a locomotive bearing his name carried the 41st president back to the place he always felt most comfortable, at his wife's side.
That was Jay Gray reporting. Switching gears now, it's been a debate for years in Worcester. Right now, the city has a dual tax rate, but some say a single rate may be better for businesses, while others are concerned what it means for homeowners. Our Chandler Walsh has more.
The Worcester Regional Chamber of Commerce says slowly moving to a single tax rate could help take the burden off businesses. The suggestion comes ahead of an upcoming city council vote.
It's everyone paying, their fair share. And if we want to grow jobs and expand the tax base, this is a factor.
Chamber President and CEO Tim Murray says the commercial tax rate has increased the past 3 years. He says he's especially concerned about how it impacts manufacturing in the city.
During that same period, we've seen several prominent manufacturers, in part because of cost, and taxes are a major factor in that, move outside of the city.
The town of Webster has been closing the gap between commercial and residential the past several years and just approved a single rate. Town Administrator Doug Willardson says a big reason was to bring more businesses into town.
To encourage people to come to our historic downtown, to have businesses open up in some of our business plazas. So it's always been a focus on being business friendly and welcoming.
But the possibility of Worcester moving closer to a single rate isn't without concerns. Mullen Sawyer is the president and CEO of Oak Hill Community Development Corporation. He says homeowners face extreme high costs, and a higher tax bill could only make things worse for them.
They're spending 30 to 50% of their total income on housing, and that makes it extremely non-sustainable and puts them at risk.
Sawyer says finding the right tax rate is all about balancing both sides,
so that we get a tax rate that's good for people who live in our community and work and invest in our community. It's got to be both.
Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight.
Opening statements are set to start Monday for the trial of 82-year-old man charged with murder. A 16-member jury was chosen to hear the case. Ralph Demasi is charged with murder and robbery in the shooting death of an armored truck guard in 1991. It happened during a holdup on Lincoln Street. Prosecutors say 52-year-old Edward Morlock was carrying a bag of money from a Shaw supermarket when he was gunned down. 12 jurors will deliberate, and the alternatives will be chosen at random immediately before deliberations begin. Brightening the holiday season for seniors. It's the mission for one Becker College student. Caitlin Waddell is the founder of the nonprofit Santa Senior Surprise. Tuesday, she invited students to paint night. They were able to paint a picture and then donate the finished product to the elderly. Waddell is a nursing student and says the idea to start her nonprofit came after working as a certified nursing assistant.
Coming from that background, seeing kind of the loneliness and the lack of visitors that they get, I wanted to do something for them. So I started a charity where we go to them during the holidays. We provide them with gifts, we dress up in cute little outfits, provide them with visiting, conversation, anything like that. And so I wanted to bring the Becker community into that.
Santa Senior Surprise will also be collecting gift donations for seniors through December 14th. For more information, you can visit their Facebook page. The Worcester County Sheriff's Department distributes winter wear today to those in need. This is Sheriff Lou Evangelitis' 8th year doing the drive. He says each year has been able to donate more and more coats. And this year, he was able to distribute more than 3,500 winter jackets to families and charitable organizations in need throughout Worcester County, like St. Anne's in Shrewsbury.
The generosity of Worcester County, and every one of these coats just reflects the goodwill that people have in their hearts to help other people. Part of my family.
Evangelitis says the need for warm clothes is there every year.